Hey friends, Veda Dave here to offer a few suggestions about what to do when you're waking up in order to increase the recall of your dream. So the first most important thing is don't move. Physically stay as still as possible. There's a bunch of research out there about how posture impacts consciousness. And so if you think of your body as a satellite, in the dream, you're positioned at a certain angle, receiving a very particular, very subtle signal. And so the moment you shift and move, that signal is going to become garbled, if not lost entirely. So the first thing to do is don't move. Stay as still as possible. And this is a discipline, this is a practice, and it's one of the ways in which your daily yoga asana practice, or whatever your practice for physical wellness comes in really handy, because if you're waking up and you're stiff or you slept weird, you're going to want to shift positions a bunch. Where if you've slept in a calm, comfortable posture, it's easier to just simply not move and just stay where you are and immediately cultivate that meditative state. So that's one. The other is, as you're dancing in that liminal space, which you've been cultivating, is to replay the dream as many times as you can. Go into as much detail as you can. Slow motion replay, go backwards, go forwards. Remember as many different parts of the dream and replay it many, many times. This helps the dream imprint itself on your conscious mind while you're still, again, just awake enough to remember, but still in the dream, close enough to the dream to replay it. And just that practice of replaying it as many times as you can, take an extra 5 minutes or so to just replay it before you move, before you turn over to start writing it down or recording a voice note. Don't move. Replay it as many times as you can until you feel like you've got it, and you'll feel that sort of click. It's like, okay, I'm confident that if I move and come fully awake in order to record the dream, that you're going to be able to remember the significant details. One of the other ideas is to set an early alarm, significantly before you have to be awake, even like 2 or 3 hours before you want to wake up and be ready for the day. And that way, that alarm is going to wake you up and you'll be able to go right back to sleep. And again, it helps us stay in that liminal state where you come awake and then go back to sleep, but you're closer to wakefulness. And perhaps you have this experience just sort of naturally of waking up early in the morning, or being able to sleep in and be in that dreamy in-between state. And that's where you get really powerful visions and in potent dreams. And so you can purposefully cultivate that. Now, if you have trouble sleeping, if you have trouble getting back to sleep once you've woken up, don't compromise your energy during the day. But if you're pretty comfortable that you're going to be able to get back to sleep, then set that early alarm and purposefully give yourself the chance to go back into that subtle realm. And yeah, there's one other thing that I wanted to say about that, and that is, right, recording your dreams. So this is a really powerful part of developing your relationship with the dream maker. You can imagine if you had a friend who told you a really important story, and then the next time you saw them, you had no memory, and they're like, hey, remember that story I told you? Here's the next thing that happened. And you're like, what story? Like, oh, don't you remember? I told you this whole drama and you have no context for what the next chapter of their story is about. Same with the dream maker. Dream maker is telling you really valuable stories all the time, and it's just part of being a good friend to record it, write it down so you can better remember it. And so writing it down is a powerful practice, and we're going to work on this. This is later in the course, where we're going to go through all the different ways to record and remember and honor the dance of that dream. But the two simplest ways simply to record the data of the dream is either write it down or record a voice note. And you can experiment, find your preference with these two techniques. But either way, if you're going to write it down, you want to have your journal or your book ready to go with a pen in it. And I even leave my journal open to the page so that I can almost just turn over and, keeping my eyes closed, start writing. And it's sort of funny, the writing gets all scraggly and diagonal on the paper, but I've often found that I catch details from that depth that I might have missed otherwise. The other idea is to have easy access to a gentle light, not the flashlight on your phone, that's too bright, but something like a salt lamp can provide this gentle light that again allows you to stay in that dreamy space while also being able to see what you're writing, where you're writing. The other option that can be really helpful is a voice note. That takes a little bit less energy and waking up. You don't have to turn on a light. If you've got your phone and you've got your voice recorder just ready to go so that you can, maybe even memorize the places, so you can just open your eyes minimally, set the recording going, and then you can sort of mumble or speak the dream. And then these days there's AI software that'll create a transcript for you, because one of the things I've found in the past is I've got all these voice recordings of dreams, but I never go back and look at it because I don't want to listen to a 15-minute voice recording with 3-minute breaks while I'm like going back into it and then speaking again. I'm never going to review that. But if I have a transcript, then I can start to build my catalog of dreams, which is one of the valuable resources of your life. And I can't tell you the impact of going back to your dream journal or your dream catalog, however you record it, and looking at 1 to 5 years ago, like, oh my God, that dream is so relevant in this moment, because dreams happen outside of linear time. They're predictive, they go into the future, into the past, they're in that mythological realm, which is always true, even if it's not factual, right? So write your dreams down or record them and get a transcript. And later in the course, we'll go into other ways to tease out the significance of the dream and honor the dream through art, poetry, dance, enacting the dream in real life, walking as or with dream characters. We're going to get into that later. But for now, the goal is simply to record the concrete data of each dream. And one of the things to watch for is, as you get more disciplined and consistent with recording each dream each morning, you'll start to remember better. You'll remember more and more and more. And so the invitation is, even if you only remember a split second, if you've got one image, one sort of shadow of an image, write it down. Write down everything you can possibly remember, even if it seems insignificant, even if it seems whatever, that was a nothing dream. Write it down, because so often it's those nothing dreams that the conscious mind wants to set aside or ignore or dismiss, that's got some real juice in it for you. So have fun. Let me know how it goes, and I'll see you out there.